Doogie Costello in instead of Wilson Rennick, who's injured, on number 3 final bid.
The betting headed by On His Tiptoes, who reverts from fences, having won off a mark £13 higher than he competes from this afternoon. Lothian Falcon hasn't run since May, but fairly handicapped on the pick of his form so far. Coconut Beach, formerly trained by Christy Roach, now with John J. O'Neill, colours of JP McManus. I have to say, overall, so far, a bit of a disappointment over hurdles. Had headgear on, cheek pieces, blinkers, visor, but lines up here off the back of a reasonable run on the flat last time on his debut for John Joe. Should think the pace here will be unlikely to be extreme. Likely to be set by On His Tiptoes, who usually races handily or up with them. Sharp Baleen for Sue Smith, bit of an old timer, but still retains some ability. Has won here a couple of times. He likes to be handy, or is usually handy as well. Capitalise, trainer Vince Smith's first runner at Wetherby, so we wish him well. But they're coming into line, and very shortly Stuart Machin will be doing the honours once again.
Walking forward. And they jump away. They're off the bet365 handicap hurdle, just shy of 2.5 miles ahead of them on this occasion. Sharp Baleen leads them down towards the first with On His Tiptoes, the orange jacket. It was On His Tiptoes who picked up about 1.5 lengths ahead. Watching them all take it safely with final bid in the noseband, the last to land. And now they make their way towards the second. On His Tiptoes taken on by Sharp Baleen, tracked by Circassian, and then the well-backed Coconut Beach. Tony McCoy out wide with the white cap, just about disputing fourth with English City, the pale jacket, nearest the running rail, Capitalise, and then a break to Lothian Falcon, some Godaground, the grey, and final bid looking on. Take the turn out of the back straight and head towards the end of half a mile. Sharp Baleen moving through to take a narrow lead from On His Tiptoes. He's been having a great time of things this summer. Close up in third place, Circassian, and a couple of lengths to Capitalise from English City. Coconut Beach restrained back into the midfield, and that's St Godaground, a yellow cap of Lothian Falcon, and final bid, the last one to turn on in and face the third. Sharp Baleen leading to On His Tiptoes on the near side, about a half length between them. Circassian in close there, followed over by English City. Capitalise, well back this morning, and the encore's gambler of the race. Coconut Beach, Tony McCoy in midfield, ahead of Lothian Falcon, the grey St Godaground, and final bid, who was a bit awkward on landing, a couple of lengths adrift. So they range up towards the fifth, with the last after another circuit. Sharp Baleen leading to On His Tiptoes. They're still being followed through by Circassian, the pale jacket of English City. Capitalise close up in fifth against the running rail. Couple of ends to Coconut Beach, then Lothian Falcon, St Godaground, and a final bid. Got a brief reminder there from jockey change Dougie Costello. So racing up in front of the judge, and just under 1.5 miles still to cover. Sharp Baleen taken on again by On His Tiptoes. A couple of lengths to Circassian, tracked by English City, and down at the fence Capitalise. And then a break of a couple of lengths to Lothian Falcon, heading up on the inside of Coconut Beach, who's tracked through by St Godaground. And still in last position, final bid, as they make their way along the side of the course and over towards the far side. On His Tiptoes shadowing Sharp Baleen, as Circassian has been quite content to take a lead from the two up front and races within a couple of lengths. And then English City and Capitalise, who dispute fourth. Lothian Falcon races near Coconut Beach, couple of lengths and Godaground, and final bid is still just last. First on the far side, On His Tiptoes jumping on, mistake from Lothian Falcon. Back in the field, rather paddled his way over it, and now they race on towards the final mile or so of the race, beyond the halfway point. Sharp Baleen being ridden along behind the orange jacketed On His Tiptoes. English City out wide from Circassian. Capitalise blue and white silks is travelling well. And then Coconut Beach from Lothian Falcon, final bid, and St Godaground as they take the middle one across in the Wetherby back straight. St Godaground has now popped out to be last of all, having been passed by final bid. Reminders up front for Sharp Baleen. On His Tiptoes then at 4 out, took it fluently. Plenty of them though stacking up in behind. English City out wide, working across to Capitalise, the ridden along Sharp Baleen, nearest the fence Circassian. No move yet from Coconut Beach, then Lothian, Falcon, final bid, and St Kilda Grand as they begin the sweep for home, and the pace is beginning to lift once more. On his tiptoes by a length and a half. Capitalise in the centre of a line of three, just spearheads the chasers. English City is trapped wide, Circassian cutting the corner. Then Lothian, Falcon, the dark green jacket on the move, circling the field, Coconut Beach. Sharp Berlin on the retreat, and then final bid, and St Kilda Grand as they turn on in to face the third last. On his tiptoes leads them into English City, ridden along. Capitalise, though, still travelling well. Spot the blue and white jacket of jockey Robert Thornton. Circassian far side, three out. They're piling on the pace. English City jumped to the front as On his tiptoes got in close, but still Capitalise is closing. Then Circassian, Coconut Beach, Lothian, Falcon next. This is the second last. Capitalise ranging up to English City, who was in tight. On his tiptoes just a length away. Then Lothian, Falcon, Circassian, Coconut Beach can't go on. Capitalise has quickened on between the final two flights, gone a couple of lengths clear from English City. Lothian, Falcon the far side, but into Rattle home. Capitalise led by a couple at the last from Lothian, Falcon. Then English City, Circassian on his tiptoes. Capitalise being tackled by Lothian, Falcon, who grabbed him inside the last half furlong and begins to power away for Robert Walford. And Lothian, Falcon drawing away from Capitalise, nothing more to give, and Lothian, Falcon goes on to win from Capitalise. English City, Circassian next, then back to On his tiptoes, and they trail back to final bid, who was last of all.
Well, Stamina won the day here. It was only 2.5 miles, but they went a good gallop, and there were several different scenarios up the straight, but eventually it was Lothian, Falcon who came with a strong surge and put a seal on it close home. For much of the race, you wouldn't have thought he was the likely winner. Coming here as we come to the second last, the horse with the light colours this side, English City, joined now by Capitalise on the inner, who I must say I thought travelled best of all for most of the way. He was stepping up in trip, and you have to say that when he came with a run, he looked like he'd win, but ultimately he didn't seem to get home. No sooner did he hit the front than distress signals are coming out, and Lothian, Falcon, who's being pushed along, starts to rally. He jumps well enough, Capitalise, but he's got nothing left to give as the horse in green colours, Robert Walford, on his outer, stays on strongly and forges ahead to win by 3 or 4 lengths in the end. Capitalise in the end is all out to, well, not all out, but only just holds on to second, ahead of English City. And Circassian was fourth. Lothian, Falcon the winner.